computer. Yay. Hi, guys, and welcome back to Bone This Way, baby. We have an amazing person with us today. My soul sister, my bestie, the best person in the world, my lovely Hannah Wallace.
Thanks. Thanks
The
for the
introduction. She is a karaoke queen, a diva, magic, graceful, sexy bitch, honestly.
Oh my God. I mean, I'll take that. I will take all of that.
So, Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Wow. I mean, didn't you just say that? You called me a diva and a sexy bitch and like just all of those amazing
Priestess,
things.
Oracle.
Priestess, oracle reader, you know, just general mentor, blogger, podcaster.
I thought you were going to say something else then.
Did you? I mean, I think, do you know what I really like to describe myself as? Very multidimensional. Because I think I was saying this to Jordan, I love that this is just an informal chat. And I love the fact this podcast is called Bone This Way. I think when you told me the title of your podcast, it was like, this is very, very cool. But yeah, I like to think of myself as a multidimensional person, of somebody that has, like what we discuss, all the facets of all the fun, the sexiness, the creativity, not losing that amongst the life of all the more serious stuff that can be out there to be more supportive and helpful to people. I sometimes feel like it all gets a bit too serious. It all gets a bit too formal to the point where people lose themselves in that.
Yeah.
And we stop having fun. And we do have a lot of fun. We have a laugh. We talk silly things, and it reconnects you back to yourself. It's so healing to not be serious all the time.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially in a spiritual community, I mean, in so many
Absolutely.
different places, but in a spiritual community, sometimes it can be a bit like you have to be perfect, so
Mm,
serious, not fun. But fun is like where all the creation then comes
yeah.
from, right?
And also it's like controlled fun. It's like, oh, be embodied in this way. It's like,
Yeah.
how about just being yourself? Like all of the facets of yourself. Surely that to me is the biggest spiritual gift we can bring to the world, to be ourselves.
I agree. And we're here to be ourselves. So let's just
Mm,
be ourselves. So we'll probably be ourselves completely on this podcast today. Hannah
absolutely.
is amazing. We met a few years ago. And we actually recently got to go on a lovely trip to Jersey together, which was something we manifested. So
Absolutely.
we do these like miracle morning, I don't know, what's magic morning, whatever, like gratitudes to each other, which I still haven't done mine today. So I'm failing right now. But we like send gratitude in voice notes every morning of the things that we want to come into our life. But obviously we speak them as if they're already happened. And we would speak about like going on a trip and things like that, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And then we
And
went
we
this
went,
summer.
and yeah, it happened. And it was just so amazing, because what was a line for me is it was like double brilliance for me, because I also got to see my friend who is like part of the trip, who like co-runs the place that we went to. It was just kind of brilliant, because for us, we got to go somewhere that everything you needed was there.
Yeah,
We got to
completely
have
accessible.
fun, completely accessible. We got to have fun. You got all your needs met. You got to meet my friend who's really adorable. And we also just had fun. The best karaoke night of our life. But
That
also
was so
just
good.
the fact it was so good. I think the fact as well that how it came about, and how there was just a lot of fun in the whole trip. But also on the other side of things, the fact that now we're in their promotional advertising, which I love. And we like those, even the photographer said those pictures are so great. And also it's promoting younger, kind of I don't want to say the word cooler, but in a more fresher, younger way, to somewhere that people might not associate with that,
Yeah.
because of like all the weirdness that can be around disability. So
Hmm.
I really love that as well. But it was just, apart from the rain, oh my God, the
Yeah.
rain.
We need to go again when it's sunny
We need
because
to go
it's in
again.
Jersey, guys. Jersey is so beautiful. It's kind of a magical, it looks so magical. And I absolutely agree, Hannah, because sometimes you can see these like accessible places or uh, class it as a disabled holiday, but it's not. It's just a place that is completely accessible.
Mm.
And it just made life so much easier to enjoy going away with all needs being met. And you don't have to think about anything in terms of, is it going to be accessible? Even the pool like had a slope into it. So you could even go down it in a shower chair if you wanted to, couldn't you?
Yeah, like if you hadn't have felt just that particular day that I
Mm.
went into the pool, you could have it was not a challenge for you to get into that pool.
No.
And also the other great thing about it, which people might not think about, but it was warm. And for you, that
Mm.
would have been also a must. It meant you wouldn't have got cold.
Yeah.
And it was just brilliant. And we
But
could have just,
manifestation is real.
yeah, it is. And it was just so cool because we like, yeah. And also I think the fact that you were able to bring two people who you needed to help you, which
Yeah.
meant you could travel with just them. You didn't, yeah,
Mhm.
it was that in itself was really like great. And also loads of good food. Like
Food was, oh my God. I feel like I came home like, oh my God, I'm so full, but I'm full in a good way. Like my cup was full, my stomach was full. I felt great. And yeah, nice food and nice cocktails too. And even the mocktails were good. So
yeah, yeah, they
very
were.
lucky.
Yeah,
But I will tell you, it was so funny. We did some karaoke, didn't we? And that
yeah,
was so much fun. We took it
yeah.
very seriously. But it was so funny, guys. There was this couple. Hi, if you're listening, guys. Edward and, oh, what was his wife's name?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. They were lovely. And they were like, they thought they the hotel had brought us in to be the singers. So they
We were
thought we were
professional.
actually professional singers. But it was like, we weren't very good at entertaining because we were just staring at the screen and each other. Like,
And just being really like, it was about us really just fulfilling our karaoke dreams because
yeah,
we actually have been saying we really want to do
yeah,
karaoke and go, we're going to do it. We're going to go to a booth.
yeah.
But I think that it was just really funny that we really wanted to do karaoke and it was weird how they were like, oh, you can actually do it here. And then our like, we just made it about us and it
Yeah.
worked out.
It's all about us. Listen to us. We were hogging the mics. Luckily, there were two mics, so we didn't have to fight each other. So that was
Yeah,
good.
that was good. It was just so so good. And I
Mhm.
think what I want to say to people is that it doesn't matter where, like if you do want to go somewhere and you think, oh, I don't want to go somewhere that seems so disability focused, it's what you make of it, isn't it?
Oh,
And
everything
and
is.
and I really do believe that with everything. And because you can go to the most beautiful place in the world and have a miserable time if you're not in alignment with, and I know that from personal experience, and I'm sure you do too.
You
It
know it.
comes down to what you're doing, it comes down to your own inner alignment, and it comes down to who you're with. Are you having fun? And also, just like we were saying, it was really great how we just felt we could really be ourselves, which I think is everything as well, isn't it?
I think so. I think when you meet your people that you can be yourself with, it's so freeing and it's so relaxed.
Mm.
So you can go to the most amazing place, but be with someone that you can feel your body rejects people, can't you? Like and you can like feel like you're getting smaller. You want to be with people who make you feel like you can expand and be your biggest, truest self,
Mm.
because you could be in the most incredible place and feel so small and like you want to go home. But yeah, it's all about who you're with and what you make it. And it, it was amazing anyway. But
Yeah, definitely. It's
so
such a good point
yes.
about the expansion as well, because I do think that like when you're quite a like you've got that big, passionate and a little bit wild energy, sometimes in life you're told you're too much. I know I have been told I'm too much, and I know we've discussed this. And I think it's so good to land yourself in places where, like you say, you can really expand with the people around you. And also that goes with our friendships, but also our relationships as well. Because I think it
Yes.
can really be a big thing in relationships. Because actually, in friendships, it's almost a little bit safer to be yourself. But in
Mhm.
relationships, if there's one thing I'd say to people, never shrink yourself to fit anyone, no matter how hot they are, no matter
Mhm.
how good it might seem, it in the end it won't serve you and it will crush you and it will crush your spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done that too many times.
Yeah,
But it's like
definitely.
sometimes you don't realize you're doing it. But
Yeah.
if you ever take that moment and think, oh, I'm restricting myself, oh, they're kind of coming into my space too much in terms of your creativity, your life, your like telling you no, like that isn't what you should do, or like trying to make you smaller. And you think, no, this isn't right for me. And
Mm,
I've had that a lot of times where people always want to tell you what to do as well. Like,
mm,
you should be doing this because you would do really well at that. Okay, there's nice things to say, like, oh, you'd be good at something. But when it's like then criticizing your other things, it's like,
mm.
you're just trying to dim me down. So no dimming down ever again.
No, I agree. And I think, it's just like the biggest, if anybody's listening to this, take it away as the biggest message. Don't dim yourself. But that's a really good point about people saying you should do this just because you're good at it. Like, just because you're good at something, it doesn't mean you should do it. If
Mhm.
you're truly doing something from your heart, your creativity, and your passion, and you just show up to that, it will pay in the end. It will pay off. And I think that's
Exactly.
just so important to do. And it's like you with your amazing poetry and creativity and all of those things. I love that about you. And I love that you just do all that stuff. And I love that there's also someone else in my life that does that too. And it's
It's
just,
magic.
it is magic. It is really, really magic. And we should
Living your
follow it.
truth.
Yeah.
Mm, absolutely. Um, it's just, you know, I've been in situations like that, Hannah, where I've just been so restricted, but
Mm,
never again. And I think the thing is, we have to take responsibility for ourselves as well and start to witness when people are dimming
mm,
us or draining us, or we're not putting boundaries up. I still sometimes need to work on some of those little things because
mm,
sometimes I can get drained because I can give, and but we need to acknowledge it. And if you feel a certain way around someone, understand why you feel the certain way. Some
mm,
people can just trigger us, but some
mm,
people can just be taking us, like taking our energy. And you think, well, what am I getting from this? It has
mm.
to be a nice bit of balance. And of course, sometimes people need you more than you need them. Sometimes it's just how it is. But I love our friendship. I think our
Yeah.
friendship is very aligned.
I
I feel like
agree.
I'm rambling.
I love the rambling, but it's so true about the balance and the taking and the giving, and also to trust your gut and your intuition. Because I think I know for me, I don't know about you, you can feel guilty sometimes if you kind of think, oh well, I shouldn't be thinking that, or oh well, why am I feeling like that around that person? Like it's so can be challenging to trust your intuition sometimes. And I think it's like knowing that sometimes your intuition won't always make sense,
Mm,
and to really trust that as well. And like, intuition's not going to be like always showing up in the most linear way, and it's actually that's where we've got to trust things and really dive in and learn about them. So yeah, trust that. And also don't be afraid, like if something doesn't feel good, that's okay too. I just think it's hard in this world where we're trying to draw up all these lines, and especially if we feel like we've asked for something, oh, I want to get some new like friends or new people in my life, and then some people come and they might not feel aligned. I think there can be a part of us that feel guilty
mhm.
about that. So I think it can feel like that as well. So it's like it's navigating that balance, isn't it?
It is. And yeah, I think we're always learning though. And we can make those, seemingly mistakes in the past where it's like, oh, maybe I gave too much, or this wasn't really in alignment with me, but went along with it for so long. It's like, okay, well, today's a new day and we've learned a lesson from the past. So we can then put boundaries in place and be like, you know what? I'm not going to give myself to someone all the time, or you know the right people do come to you in the end. And I think you've got to understand like more about yourself, then you'll start to figure out who you want in your life as well. Once you know yourself more, and once you know your beliefs, values, things that you are really interested in, and things that just make you feel like, oh, I need a Duracell battery in me right now.
Absolutely. It's like it's funny because obviously I know, I went on a holiday of a childhood friend recently, and we were both saying that it was just really nice that we didn't we could just really just relax and be like like when me and you were together, we can just relax and be, and it didn't feel like we had to perform for each other at all or give anything, or if we needed to chat about something. But I think it's really nice when you have that as well, where you don't feel like you have to be, you can show up in all the versions of yourself and feel safe to that's when you're really navigating a really good balance. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's
I'm
good.
laughing because I was thinking I had a flashback of when we were in Jersey and I was a bit tired and I was in my I can't be bothered to speak mode. And Hannah's like, she's being a scorp. She's being a little scorp. And then like I was like, you can touch my hand because you're giving me good energy. And whereas normally I'll be like moving away from someone if they try to touch me, I'm like, get up. But I was all being all like inward and Scorpio, and it was kind of funny, wasn't it? And I felt
It was
like so
really,
able to do that though with you.
yeah.
That's what the point was, like it when you know your people, you can be your true self. You can be the fun, excited, like woo person, silly, or you can be the little, I can't talk right now, but I want to be
Mm.
with you, but can we just chill, you know?
Yeah. Can
And
you
it's so
just touch
nice.
my hand?
Can you touch my, can you hold my hand? Will you stroke my hair?
Yeah, exactly. And that's I think where the kind of learning and fun is. But I think we learn, don't we, along the way with things like that. Definitely.
We do. May I just say, guys, Hannah's here looking so beautiful and put together. And I honestly look like I look like I drive a truck.
I
Like,
love it.
this is my tan day. So on my tan day is usually a Thursday, scrubbed all my skin, do a little ritual like that. And then I have a bit of a lazy day. Like I'm literally just wearing a shirt. That's all I've got on.
Oh my God,
And
I
a
love
hat
it.
because I'm trying to cover myself a little bit. I look like a trucker. So hi. But Hannah, you look
Yeah.
lovely.
But
Yeehaw. The cowboy boots are not on yet, but you know, I seem to have a big collection now. Um, anyway, that was me just going off on a really random tangent. It's a new moon in Virgo today, right?
yeah.
When we're filming this, and my moon is in Virgo. So this
Mm.
is gonna be one that I feel like is actually shifting things in me, Hannah,
Mm.
because in this past 24 hours or so, I have completely deleted my Playboy account. I feel like done with that chapter. I've deleted Tinder.
Wow.
I just
Who
need a break.
are you?
And I feel like I need to get rid of loads of clothes because I'm going to be moving into my bedroom soon because I've been in a spare room for like over a year. My bedroom is virtually done. So I'm going to be moving in there soon. So I now feel like I need to get rid of loads of clothes. But it just felt like going to the Tinder thing. I just feel a bit like in this space of I want to be in my own energy. I don't want to be scrolling and being like no to every single person I come across. And it's just a waste of time. So I feel like I need like a month's break or something from that situation. Also, I haven't been on a date for ages. I would like to go on a date, but I don't want to be on Tinder at the moment. So manifesting a date by
Without
not being on
Tinder.
Tinder
It
without.
can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
I mean, to be honest, I prefer meeting people in real life. I just felt like I just needed like a shift, you know, when you're just like, no, I want to clean everything up, get off there, get off Playboy and focus on me and
Mm.
dive deep into my creativity and my writing and my poetry. And I need to actually do it now, you know?
I love that. And also Mercury's going direct because Mercury's been retrograde tomorrow.
Mhm.
So it makes so much sense that you're doing that. Because obviously, as we know, especially as your moon is in Virgo, it's like clear out organization, the kind of you've gone on that inner dialogue with a communication to yourself almost of getting clear on what you want,
Mm,
getting clear on how you want things to look,
yeah.
getting clear on this idea that opening yourself up to a different way other than Tinder. And you're definitely like someone else I know in my life that's no, no, no. I mean, I am, as we know, I once got banned from Tinder for 24 hours, true story, because I swiped too many yeses.
Too many. Yes.
I overswipe. It's true story. It's many years ago now. My friend Sam will back me up. I got barred from Tinder for 24 hours. It can happen. I don't know if this is possible now, but you can. Because I was too much of a yes girl.
And I'm too much of a no girl. I'm like, he, no, I don't like that. No. One little thing on Tinder, but I'm like, if I met this guy in real life, I'd probably like him. But I look at Tinder, I'm like, also, guys, if there's any guys watching, listening, why do some of you post a picture where it's like the worst picture in the world? It's like they've just opened the front camera and gone, like, I don't get it. Like, because I just don't get it. Or there's some with no picture at all. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that all about?
Oh,
But
exactly.
Hannah would have still swiped yes. So
Yeah,
that's probably why.
I mean, but the way I look at it is I'm loving this realignment. I felt so reflective this week. I have just felt so inward over the weekend, even though I was in social scenarios, actually.
Mhm.
I felt so inward and deeply, deeply reflective and quite emotional, really. So it feels like I've been really cleaning out, and I definitely know what you mean about the like throwing out clothes, realigning things. I have really, really felt that, like this big need to create space as we move into this like kind of next phase. I think what's interesting. So after this new moon, I think we're beginning to then move into the next month into eclipse season. And then Mercury doesn't go into retrograde again until like I think it's around December the 13th. So we've got like this little space of clarity and clearness, and big change comes with eclipses as well. So maybe you're really stepping into your power here. And I think that anyone listening, like really, we can look at these times as negative or positive, or just remain neutral in the space of them, I always think, and just think of it as, what can I learn from this? Even if it is feeling ugh. Because I always say that to you, if you're feeling not great, like that's okay. Like
Mhm.
be in that space and know that that space is serving you and bringing medicine
Mhm.
to you, whatever space you're in. I think it doesn't matter. Like we're not like the same, are we, all the time? And it's just a case of us we're just, I think there's this weird human thing where we feel we've got to be the same all the time. And if we're not, like there's something wrong with us. And I think that's what social media has done for us,
Mhm.
right? Like social media has made us believe that if we're not like on it all the time, there's something wrong with us, when actually
Mhm.
it's just part of being human.
Mhm.
And there's medicine in all the phases of our lives. I mean, I broke my leg last year, as you know, George, and that was really challenging for me to go from, like, as I said to Jordan, I'm like doubly disabled, which was so true because I went from one level to a new level. And that was really challenging for me in so
Mhm.
many ways. And I really did have to go within. I didn't feel like me. And that was okay. And I think I really, really faced that okayness of that last year. And that felt really good. So I'm excited for this like new moon in Virgo
Yeah.
for you, and
And for
excited for
you.
you. Yeah, definitely. And excited for you to be open to all of these possibilities, and
Yeah.
who knows who you might meet, like
Mhm.
I think it's really important for us to always remain open, that there are channels of the highest good open to us for all possibilities when we're least expecting it.
Mhm.
Like you can meet people in the most random forms. I look in my life, I've rarely used a dating app because it's just never, that's a whole nother,
She
almost
said
a
yes
whole
to too many people.
yeah, I said yes to new people. But generally with being disabled and using apps,
Oh,
there's a
tell me
lot
about
of
it.
problems with that because and I've spoken to people about this, and I guess the biggest issue is that if you are on an app and you don't fully understand or know that person, I
Mhm.
think it can be quite challenging for people in their brains from what society has said. So
Mhm.
I've just found, I once did an experiment. I don't know if I ever told you this, where I posted myself with the wheelchair and without the wheelchair. It was
Mhm.
highly confronting
That
because,
is, well, I can believe it. I mean, I
yeah,
can completely believe it. I haven't done that, but maybe I should have done the experiment. But I don't know if it would be that great for the brain.
no, don't. I've done it for you, and I
You've
can
done
tell
it,
you,
and
I,
it's yeah,
yeah, you know exactly what I'm going to say.
yeah.
And yeah, and I think that it really made me realize after that point in time that it's about just opening yourself up to other possibilities. And actually,
Mhm.
when we remain open, you can meet people in so many different, I've met people who've been so important in my life through
Mm.
really bizarre and interesting ways that you would never possibly imagine, and
Yeah.
they've become so important in our lives. And I think for us, because of our situations, if any disabled person listening, like sometimes people just need to meet you on face
Oh,
value, and don't don't think you can kind of be yourself and you know you're going to be destined to not meet someone good. It's just opening yourself up to multiple possibilities, and that can be scary as well, don't get me wrong, but I think it is doing it that way.
I agree because I always say, like, maybe I'll go on these dating sites or whatever and, meet a few people here and there. But I'll be like, it's so interesting to me because I know I don't mean this in a big headed way in the slightest. And I don't care if it even sounds like it, to be honest. I know if I met them in person, it would be a completely different thing.
Mhm.
Not
Same.
saying in my hometown, people are a little bit more weird for me. I don't get it. I never have. Anyway, but if I was somewhere else, say like Nashville, LA, London, like just away from just anywhere, I am quite I sort of like I draw people to me. I talk to people. I I have no problem in real life and it's interesting, but I just know maybe if I saw the same people and met the same people on a dating site, they perhaps wouldn't swipe for me. But I think that just shows how much energy is so important because
Mm.
when you radiate such an energy that you are undeniably going to attract people to you. But I remember actually a few years ago, this was like 2019, because I think I made an Instagram post about it. Someone wrote, they matched me on Bumble. And actually, I'm banned from Bumble and I don't, oh, it says that I impersonated someone. So someone said I was impersonating myself, which is
Oh my
ridiculous.
god, hilarious.
Anyway, it doesn't even matter. Um, but when I was on there, someone was like, oh, I didn't realize you were in a wheelchair. And if I had realized, I wouldn't have even considered swiping you.
What?
And I was like, man, honestly, I would not want someone so friggin' narrow minded in my life. And I thank you for kind of saying that because can you imagine what type of person that is?
I mean, that
Why
is
didn't he just
shocking.
unmatch me?
Unmatched. I don't get it. And I know someone once said to me that how they'd overlook the wheelchair and they can imagine that some people wouldn't.
Just
And
don't
I'm
even bring it up. Like, why has that got to be why has that got to be a thing? I'm such a nice guy. I don't even notice the wheelchair. Oh, shut up. You just brought it up.
yeah, exactly. And I just like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
it is.
so over narrow-mindedness. Like people act like they're so open-minded, like guys or whatever,
Mm.
on these dating apps, and it's like we're clearly not. Because, like I said, in person it'll be different. So I'm gonna give this little break. I'll be back on there, guys. I like to have some little stories for you. I will be back on there at some point, but for now, a little Virgo break. Um, and we'll see what happens. I might meet my husband in the next 2 weeks.
You might. Libra season's around the corner.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, I mean, who knows? So, I mean, look, so we've had big full moon in Pisces, all the emotions purging. And it's interesting because we've had full moon in Pisces and then moving into this new moon in Virgo. So that's washed out all the stuff, clearing out all the stuff, cleansing everything, all that emotional energy of Pisces. Now, new moon in Virgo, fresh start, Mercury going direct, autumn equinox is coming up next week. Big energy. So wheel is turning.
Mm.
Equinox is such a cleansing time. Especially autumn, it's a time where everything's falling away. So everything you're doing is so in alignment with where things are heading. And then as you move through autumn equinox, we're into Libra season. So which is about more balance and romance and
Mm.
bringing it in cozy pumpkin spice season. And just think, so Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac.
Mhm.
So the next full moon in Aries, it's almost like a miniature reset, that fiery Aries energy. So who knows what October is going to bring for you? The wheel is
Ooh.
turned. We're in the last quarter of the year, calendar year. It just
Mhm.
feels like I don't know, I agree with you. There is this energy of renewal. And, for me, I look at it. I cannot believe that you say about 2019. I moved into my place in 2019, and that was 4 years ago, babe. 4 years ago.
Crazy.
And then before we know it, we moved into the craziest time of our lives, lockdown. What the actual, like,
Was that even real? Did that even
was that
happen?
even real? Like, I
What?
cannot believe that, like, Yeah. So it does feel like for me, I'm very much in that energy. And I think for anybody, we all have opportunities continuously, no matter where we're at. I'm sure you would agree, to find those places to reset. And that's why it's really great. We have these places and points to take, whether it's the moon, whether it's equinoxes, because we can almost use them as a little tweak, a reset, or
Absolutely.
place to just kind of pause and just to think,
Mhm.
okay, I can cross over into a new space. So
Mhm.
it's never too late to do something about it, and just to take that time to
Mhm.
step back and refresh. There's
Yeah.
always places to refresh.
We can do it at any time, but when the when there is the energy of the moon or these other aspects going on, we might as well, take advantage of it because they're actually giving it to us.
Because that's why it's great during these periods, like, when people are like, oh my God, Mercury's going, like I said earlier, Mercury's going to retrograde. Or just sometimes it causes us to slow down. When planet retrogrades, obviously it gives the illusion of the planet moving backwards. And it's just kind of like an optical illusion where it is
Mhm.
on from our planetary view type of thing. But it causes us to slow down. And when we slow down, we create space, it gets us to think. And that's why it's so important to listen. If we're just going along at a million miles an hour, which is what life kind of forces us to do, it's just so good to slow down and to
Mhm.
take our time and just create the space and just be like, okay, what do I need to listen to here?
Mhm. You need to go inward all the time. Listen to that inner guidance, guys. Listen to it.
Mm,
Preach.
what is it
Oh my
saying?
God. I feel like my brain though isn't working that well today. Do you know? Like I didn't sleep very well last
Mm.
night. And then I had like crazy dreams.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. And I was like, is it the moon? But the
Oh,
dreams
yeah.
was
Well, of course. Dark
you were in
moon.
it. You were in it.
Oh, wow. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
you're
What
in
was
my
I
dream.
doing? Oh my God. Was it
So
crazy? What?
I'm gonna skim through it because dreams are strange and it's hard to explain them, isn't it? There was other people in it, but I don't want to talk about some of the people that were in my dream because it's really freaking weird. But it was like a train station, right? But it was actually a conference. So, and we could go behind these barriers, and there was all these like women giving like spiritual advice, but it was super expensive. And I saw you there. You were like, "Yeah, I'm going through now." I was like, "Hannah, what?" And then I saw this other friend that I knew, and she went, "Yeah, I'm going through as well." I was like, "Guys, it's like 6 grand to go speak to this woman." Anyway, you go through, speak to this woman. Then I'm like, "Oh my god, I had to go through." So we all end up with like, what's really weird. I had the frog thing growing out of my head, and then it was like part of the ritual. We had to like with these frogs, we then had to treat it like a baby and we had to keep it alive. And then I saw like a dead frog on the ground and it freaked me out. And I was like, oh my God, how much milk do I need to give this frog? It was so freaking weird. But I don't know what that means.
I mean, frog medicine. I mean, I feel like I might need to just get my phone and have a look. What does a
Ha-
frog mean in a dream?
Hannah, yeah, Google it, see what it says. But I will also say it makes me laugh because maybe the last thing I saw before I went to sleep was the thing I sent you about those psychedelics.
That is very funny. What does a frog
Mean in a dream. Oh my
frog
God, I hope it's
mean?
something good. The frog was like my baby.
Oh, babe, this is so cool. Dream symbol for process of rebirth and change. What you've just been talking about, sign of material and psychological abundance.
Oh, I enjoy
Always
that.
pay special attention when you encounter frog-related dreams. Transformation. Oh, wow, this is amazing. Oh, wow. So it feels like it's very apt what you've just said, babe. And maybe it's like, the fact I was in it because I'm part of that rebirth and transformation. 'Cause I'm going to be there to support you. Oh my God, I love that.
Oh, also, maybe the fact that I had to feed it is because like I have to feed my soul, like to grow, I have to make sure my cup is filled up.
Yes, and it's related to water as well. So water energy, if we're going to go into the tarot, water's emotions, like
Hmm.
relationship with ourselves, with others, filling our cup, overflowing.
But in my head, the dream was kind of scary. So, but then
Yeah.
again, change can be scary.
Oh my God. And the process before change, I think we can feel a lot of resistance.
Hmm.
I mean, I know I struggle with stuff like that personally. Like even when I know it's essential, I think it's still hard. And
Mhm,
I think it's like honoring, yeah, we've got to do it anyway.
mhm.
And I don't think it ever gets easier. I was thinking about this the other day, like, because I will leap and I will do it, but it's still scary every time.
Mhm.
But you've just got to be kind of, I know you did your poetry class in brave, and you've just got to be brave, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it can feel like, oh, you're meeting those edges
Mm.
sometimes. But yeah, I love that dream, and I love that you've shared that. And yeah, wow.
I think as well with change, we can always think, oh, let's wait. Let's continue waiting until the perfect time. Do. Perfect time doesn't ever exist because when is
Ever.
there going to be a perfect time for something to change? When is the perfect time to create that thing that you've always wanted to create? There's never going to be a perfect time. Just do it now. It's a bit like
Mm,
when people have kids, they're like, I'm waiting for the perfect time. Then when they have the kids, they're like, actually, there's no perfect time to have children. You have them and you have them, you know? It's like
yeah.
no
Oh
one's
my
ever ready
goodness.
for anything. Like birthing an idea can be scary. Leaving a
Yeah.
situation can be scary. But once you've done it, that's when things can start to unfold and you start that new chapter and it ends up being amazing. I
And
think so.
actually, I think as well, it's like realizing that even when it's really, really bad, once you've honored and nurtured your emotions during that process, it's realizing what's the possibilities available to me after that, because now I'm free.
Mhm.
It's like you have to, it's weird, isn't it, that we go through, like, it's interesting that dreams about rebirth because you've had your massive death. Like
Mm.
you went through like your breakup, like you went through the death period, right? You did the
Mm.
grief, you did that. And it's so amazing now where you're at
Yeah. Oh my
because
God.
you are so through that now. Like I
Oh,
am so proud of you,
beyond.
so proud of you. But like, I'm really also proud that you did honor where you were at as well.
Mhm.
And like, I just think that's important too, isn't it? Like when you're going through something, not to rush the process. Cause I said to you, and you like said to me one day, oh, why am I like this? Like, why am I feeling like this? And it's okay. It's just that life kind of has this weird thing where it wants us to rush through the phases.
Mm.
Phases will end at the right perfect time. Sometimes we might need to just push a little bit and through that. But if we really, really honor where we're at and be like, I'm going to sit in this, like I did my broken leg. And I just came the other side of it eventually because for the first time in my life, I didn't fight it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honored the grief. And that felt scary to me because usually I'm trying to control, okay, now I've got to stop doing that. Now I've got to be like this. Now I've got to be positive, and I didn't. And I think we can really learn from that when we start to really honor our cycles and phases. Like what's happening to you now, you're naturally
Mhm.
dreaming your way into this
Yeah.
this new space.
Yes. And I think it's all with our positive speaking in the morning too. That all helps. And to have that support, I have such great support from you. And I feel like everyone needs a Hannah in their life. And to have that person that understands you but doesn't judge you and kind of but you at the same time you just don't drain each other. It's such a
Yeah.
great vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to like meeting your people, just allow them to come in and you will meet them when you I think especially when you're being yourself and you can allow
Yeah.
yourself to be yourself. Um, but tell me something, Hannah. Tell me something that you want to do this autumn equinox time.
Oh,
Or as well, tell me and everyone listening what a good like ritual to do around like this change in season would be because Hannah is a guru.
right. So autumn equinox. So obviously, what first thing I will caveat is we're all in different seasons of our life, and I like to look at it in two parts. Identify the season you're in. You can still then optimize the actual season we're in, like as in the autumn that we're current. Obviously, if you were in the southern hemisphere,
Mhm.
other side of the world, you're going to be in spring. So you just switch it around. So identify the season you're in. So let's say you were in your life a very summer season in your business, but that doesn't mean you can't optimize autumn. because you can then let things that need to fall away in that summer season to really optimize that high success energy of the summer season. So here's what I would do. I think it's firstly super important to get clear on what you need to let go of. Autumn is about things falling away, clearing out, creating some space, ready for things that have, because obviously you've been in summer, high energy. I mean, you've had a good summer. I've had a really good summer this year
Been a
as
summer
well.
of
And
fun.
summer of goodness. Yeah. And I think when you've had that, you can feel very high and topped up, but you do have to come down. And actually, there's nothing wrong with having that come down to then, just like what you've said about creating the space. So think about what you need to let go of once you've identified the season that you're personally in and the season that with the physical season you're in.
Mhm.
So write that down, burn that out. I like to always light a little candle to just kind of honor that space that we're in and kind of release that. And maybe in the case of autumn, because it is releasing, either burn the item, or even you could, if you want to, flush it down the toilet, bury it in the ground, but really releasing energy, like just to create that space. Also, I think when we create that space, what you don't want to do is leave an empty vacuum. So what I would really suggest that people do is think about in that space that you want to do, make sure you're saying kind of energetically and intentionally that you want to fill that space that you've created with possibility. You want to fill that space, but what you don't want to do is back up the space with too much, and too much, like I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, but
Mhm.
also too much of like letting it fall back into maybe a negative pattern. What you want to fill that gap is have that space to breathe of possibility, because energetically, even though we are moving into winter, which is obviously like Christmas and all of the festive season, it is a very inward time, kind
Mhm.
of spiritually and energetically in terms of season. So it's really letting things like leave ready before we move back into the spring. So it's a really good time as we're moving into winter and through autumn to plant ideas. So if you want to begin something, it's a really good time to do that. If you want to re-spark your creativity, start doing that. Start thinking about what little things you can do. So that's what I would do. I would set yourself some realistic, don't set
Mhm.
yourself things you can't keep to. It's better to do less than more.
Mhm.
And also, like I said to a friend recently, that what you also want to do is create time where you're living. Because if you are not truly living in the time that whatever time you're in, and you're not having space to have a little bit of fun, and it's just constant, you're that is going to impact what you're doing energetically. We don't,
Mhm.
we necessarily won't see that, but it's really important. So within that space, it's to make sure that you're not so rigid. And that doesn't mean you don't work hard. It doesn't mean that you're not going to, go and do the things you want to do, but it's making sure you're living and having fun. And like I say to you, I say this to Jordan all the time, does this feel good in my body and nervous system?
Mhm.
Does this feel sustainable? And if I could give you one gift to take through the autumn equinox, is to say, really ask yourself, does what I'm taking forward feel sustainable to do? Because if it's sustainable, it means you will really follow through.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't quite feel sustainable, how can I make it sustainable for me? We're all
Mhm.
different. So
Yeah.
listen to your own pattern and honor that. So that would be my kind of autumn equinox suggestion.
Oh,
And
I
I
love
I
that.
personally love equinox, and it's a time, actually, just so that people know, it's a time where the light is equal, the light and dark. We meet a point in equinox, spring and autumn, where the light and dark become equal. And then obviously we're descending in autumn back to that dark winter solstice, where we have the longest night of the year, the longest, darkest
Mhm.
day of the year. So, it's a
You sound
real
like a
time.
poem.
Oh, well, I am a secret poet, as Jordan
Yes.
discovered.
I mean, that was freestyle on the way to the vineyard.
On the way to the vineyard, exactly. I mean, my roomie habit has lived with me. I
Oh,
recently
yes.
into roomie, as you know, I recently introduced somebody to my favorite listening to roomie, where spoken poetry, they've taken roomie's words and they've made it into this kind of musical poetry, wordy, joyous thing. I mean, that's a great thing. I love Jordan doing her poetry because I just think it's so
She's
yummy.
a cheerleader. I love it. Woo.
I'm waiting for the poetry book.
That is where I'm going to go inward and actually write a book and not just write Instagram captions, you know? So it's time to dive deep and rewrite these poems. That's what I want to do. Put it
Mm.
out there. No bad energy, please. I'm doing it. But I know that anyone listening is only going to give good energy. So yeah, there's that. But it's all going to be a thing. And yeah. How do you feel today, Hannah?
I feel much better actually because yesterday I had a really bad headache. I've come out of like my period. I had a bit of a cold last week. So I've had a really like it's felt really like the so
Mm.
it feels like really actually feels good today because we were meant to do this, I think, was it a week or 2 weeks ago
What
we were
was
gonna
funny,
do
we were supposed to do this on a Wednesday, which was a full moon, and it's all, and Hannah didn't feel very well, and it's all in alignment that we now are doing it on the new moon. Obviously, this won't go out until Tuesday. It's Thursday now. Um, and that seems so much better because the energy is fresh and new. And
Mm.
although I may be a bit chaotic today, Hannah has some very good words of wisdom for you. So
Yeah, no, and how are you? I mean, you're not chaotic. I think you're just honoring where you're at and feeling yourself and feeling that Virgo
new moon.
moon clearance
Yeah.
energy.
I'm tired today, if you couldn't
Yeah.
tell. I feel
Yeah.
like my
But
brain's not working properly and I feel like I'm really rambling, but
you're being yourself. And
I
also,
know.
dark moon feels
Mm,
always meets our edges. Like, I know people who really feel it on the dark moon, like
yeah.
just before that new moon comes,
Yeah.
known as a dark moon. And
Hmm.
oh, it
I
can
just,
really.
I just feel like I kind of want to be alone, you know?
Mhm.
Like, and I want to put some candles on, just snuggle up, maybe write some bits, watch Nashville, because obviously I'm so obsessed with fucking Nashville that everything in my life is Nashville right now. Um,
I love
and
that.
just chill. But yeah, this has been fun.
So much fun. We need to just do it
I
again.
was going to say, I'm going to have Hannah on again, and hopefully, I will have more of a brain that's actually functioning. But I feel like what we said today was what was needed to be said. And also, this was just fun because Hannah is a great friend. And although when I have guests on, it's not going to be an interview because I feel like this is way more fun, just talking.
I
It's a
love
bit
it.
like you're having an insight into our conversation. And that's the kind of vibe I want to do with my podcast. Don't you think it's nice like that, Hannah? Do you think that goes with my vibe? I don't know.
I love it. And
Yeah.
obviously I have a podcast which is
He
slightly
does have a
different
podcast.
format, but I really like this. And for me it's like such a pleasure um to come
My
and just
first guest.
thank you. That's an honor. But it's just such a pleasure to just come and chat without it being like this, that, and the other. I think it's
Mhm.
yeah, because I think we need informal chats. And actually there's so much you can learn and take from that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I think I've been on so many podcasts and I think obviously it's great to share our stories. Of course it is. And I may ask you more next time in
Yeah,
that
of
way,
course.
perhaps. But at the same time, I feel like we end up saying these stories so many times and we're having to express ourselves in the same way. Like, this is, I had an accident when I was 15 and tell the whole story. Like, and it's great to get it out there. But at the same time, it's nice to just have a more chilled thing. And then we could maybe go deeper another time. But yeah, so
Yeah.
Hannah, where can everybody find you that wants to find you?
They can find me at the Hannah Wallace on Instagram. My podcast is called Finding Grace, where obviously Jordan has been a guest some time back.
That
You will
was a long
find
time ago. I wonder if it sound. I wonder how that. I would love to re-listen to that actually.
you sounded great. I mean,
I
it was a
can't
really
remember.
good
It was so long.
episode. It was a
Yeah.
really good episode. I
Mm.
think it was like 221 we maybe did it or
Oh, okay.
something. Um So you can find me Finding Grace podcast, Spotify, all the usual place. And website is www.hannah-wallace.com. Great thing is on there, you talk about equinox and all of those things. I do, as you know, regularly write blog posts on all of these things
Mhm.
all the time, updating. Like I just wrote a post, Mercury medicine. I'm going to be doing a little special, I've got many different autumn equinox ones, like 5 ways to optimize it, autumn edit, different ways. So there's always information, and they're very short, aren't they, Jord? Like 500
Mhm.
words, 600 words, just quick read.
Yeah.
I'm not old school blogging. I love being an old school blogger,
And
even
you have a
though
newsletter as well.
I do. Really, thanks for reminding that. Sign up, you get a free meditation, and I love that newsletter because it's really just it's a little bit of wisdom drop. I do a card in it every week as well.
Mhm. I love that.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on Bonus Way and being brilliant as always. I appreciate you. I love you. And I think you are incredible.
I appreciate and love you too, and thanks for having me on the coolest podcast name ever, Born This
Well,
Way.
that's thanks to Sam. We have to give Sam credit for that one. That wasn't me.
Thanks, Sam. Well
Thanks,
done,
Sam.
Sam.
Okay. Thank you for listening, guys. And I'll speak to you next time. Bye.